Yeah, like I was saying, on the Friday night, there was arguments leading up to the fatal incident that took place. I think Benoit was pilled up on ecstasy and testosterone, and obviously levels of testosterone causes what you call roid rage, which can get you into massive rage. Just watching the Benoit tribute show that's not shown on the network. But yeah, Nancy was on pills that night, Xanax and other medications, and she was alcohol in her system, so I think both of them were a bit wired up, and they started arguing again. About around the time I think Nancy was trying to call the non-police helpline, and at 10 o'clock she called Holly. Now I think after that, this is my prediction, after that I think that's when the argument in the took place in the living room, started getting out of hand. I think in a fit of rage, Chris Benoit, in a bit of roid rage, hit Nancy over the head because there was head trauma that she suffered from after the blow from Chris Benoit. So I think Chris Benoit went into a rage, basically, a bit of a roid rage and pill rage, as he was on ecstasy that night as well, and hit Nancy over the side of the back of the head, and I think knocked her down. With her being intoxicated and stuff, she might have hit her head on something on the way down, and she might have been unconscious, or that might have killed her. In a fit of rage, he killed her like that. Then Benoit panicked, I think. And this is about 10:30 p.m. Probably Daniel was asleep in his bedroom at the time. He basically panics, I think. I think Nancy died in the living room. Accident and manslaughter. I think Benoit went into a roid rage. They had a scuffle. Benoit hit her on the side of the head because there was parts of the blow to the back of the head, and another blow to lower back of the head, which say Chris Benoit hit her in the back of the head, and as she was going down she took another blow to the lower side of the head, which unconscioused her. And obviously the alcohol and pills, I think Benoit might have checked for a pulse and there was no pulse, so he panicked and thinking, what the fuck I'm gonna do, still in a rage, still pilled up, panicking, thinking what am I gonna do. So I think he dragged Nancy up to the bed, put cable wires over her, and then I think she was dead at this time, and strangled her with a cord, because there was no evidence of any struggle by Nancy. So if Nancy was alive at that time, she would have tried struggling out of it. I don't think Nancy was alive when Benoit put the cable wires on and took Nancy to a room, and basically Nancy's on her back and Benoit's got the cord and strangles her, the sharp cord. I think Benoit's trying to make it look like Benoit basically wanted it to look like someone else did the murder or something at first. That's what was going through his mind, or someone else might do the murder and he's going to take off with Daniel or something, or kill himself, kill Daniel, maybe make it look like someone murdered them all, something like that. As Benoit murdered Nancy, I think he was dead panic, didn't want his son to see that, Didn't want his son to go through the trauma of seeing his mum dead. I think Benoit was upset. I think it was in a rage and it was manslaughter. I don't think it was murder at all. With Daniel, I think as he was sleeping, probably came into the room, give him Xanax to sedate him, give him heavy dose of Xanax were found in his system, and then choked Xanax in the Cripper crossface. It was kind of Cripper crossface. He choked Daniel, but Daniel was unconscious and very sedated at the time of Xanax, so obviously Benoit killed him in a way where he wouldn't suffer. I think that happened early in the morning on Saturday. Probably 3 hours or so after, 3 or 4 hours after Nancy died. I think Nancy had died 11 o'clock at night. I think Nancy, around 11, 12ish midnight, Nancy was killed. There might have been a gap between the manslaughter and then Benoit doing the cable wire cord thing to Nancy, and then whether Daniel saw it or not, I don't think he did. I think he was still in bed. Benoit, like nothing happened, basically put Xanax into a drink, said Daniel drink this drink or something, and Xanax, put Xanax in his drink. So they take a drink, or maybe force the Xanax down Daniel, and he wasn't awake while he did it to further sedate him in his sleep. And then Cripper crossface. The thing was, there's a knife under the bed that was found, and that's kind of odd. I think that was Benoit trying to cover up his acts because of saying that he, after Nancy's intention of putting cable wires on Nancy and strangling her with a cord, he's covering up his acts by putting a knife under Daniel's bed to look like someone else has murdered him. So I think early morning, a couple of hours after Daniel's got the Xanax, Benoit basically murders Daniel, and Daniel don't feel anything because he's sedated after Xanax. And then he obviously Saturday he's up all night, he's feeling guilty as hell, he don't know what to do. Puts a Bible on both Nancy and Benoit, both Nancy and Daniel, Bible there. Then alarms are going off because he's supposed to make the Saturday show for SmackDown taping, which is supposed to face Edge. As you know, Edge goes on to face Ric Flair in an episode of SmackDown. Benoit, now at this time, phone calls, WWE friends, Bob Holly and a couple of other Chavo talent relations Saturday, and says basically his family's got food poisoning. Says it same to his next door neighbour Holly. His family has got is going to the horse show today. Daniel can't make it today to the horse show, which was a bit odd because Holly didn't have a relationship with Chris Benoit, didn't really talk, so it's kind of odd for Benoit to send that text message to her. And it was about 9 o'clock in the morning or something. She got at about 10 o'clock. Then people calling Benoit Benoit says, I think to Talent Relations, John Laurinaitis, try and make the flight. I missed the flight last night because of the food poisoning and being up. They're both ill.
And I think that Chris Benoit is one of the most talented individuals I've ever known in my life. Anytime I've ever seen a guy work, it didn't matter if there's 15 people in the building or if there's 30,000 people in the building. Anytime Chris Benoit went to the ring, he gave it 120% every single night of the week. And I didn't get a chance to wrestle Chris a whole lot of times, but one of my favorite matches my whole career was wrestling Chris Benoit in his hometown of Edmonton, Canada. One of my favorite matches with the guy, and the guy is probably one of the most honest people I've ever met in my life. One of the most hardest working people I've ever known in my life, and I'm gonna miss the guy. He's one of those guys that, you know, everything would be falling down around him, but you never would know it by talking to Chris, just because he always held everything together. He was just always so polite and generous with everything, with his time, with his knowledge. And I can just say that I'm going to miss him very much, very much. And I wish he was still with us, and I have nothing but total respect for Chris Benoit, and I sure wish that he was still with us. I love you, Chris.
That was Stone Cold Steve Austin talking on Chris Benoit. We'll get to that bit about people knowing about Chris Benoit dying. But I don't want to sound like a documentary here because I've got a certain amount of time left. So on the Saturday he sends a message to WWE and to friends first in the morning, saying basically his family's got food poisoning and he might be able to make their later flight, but he's probably going to miss the show, the taping show in SmackDown, which as the day progresses more texts are made and phone calls that Chris Benoit sounds really slurry and a bit distressed a bit on the phone. Says to his manager and to WWE as the early afternoon comes along, he won't be able to make the show now because the flights were rebooked. There was one he missed on Saturday, but he still could have made it on the morning because then they rebooked it for midday so he could get to Texas later to get to the SmackDown show. But after early afternoon it was decided, the Talent Relations John Laurinaitis and the WWE company said okay, took Benoit's word and rebooked the SmackDown event, the main event, which Edge faced Ric Flair. Then you got these texts now in the afternoon time. I think after Benoit goes on Wikipedia and looks, at this time I think Benoit is really stressed and thinking about suicide, or I think he's thinking about jail or suicide at this point. He's getting more depressed, more psychotic as the day goes along. You got 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think he sends a couple of texts to Chavo, and it sends him off a bit as he says I'll make it tonight with food poisoning. It's been a stressful day. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. We'll be making it tomorrow on the flight. And then he says I love you, but he says it in a way, in his tone of voice during that conversation, alarms Chavo quite a lot. Chavo gets alarmed by this, the way Chris Benoit says I love you, and the way he's speaking, he seems like he's broken, and it's very, very off character for Benoit to say things like he said in that conversation with Chavo, that immediately sends alarm bells to his manager and Chavo to try phoning him back. Benoit says, "Oh, get the late flight." He tells his manager, "I can make the later flight on Saturday night, so I can get into Texas in the morning for the Vengeance pay-per-view, which was scheduled to face CM Punk for, was it this ECW Championship on the line? I'm not sure. But alarm bells are sent off then. Really, I think. With Chavo, with the text messages and what the conversation he had with Chavo, I think alarm bells are set off. Then you get Chris probably calls talent relations later on that night, saying about rebooking. John Cena speaking on him here.
Formed bonds with those people, very, very, very close bonds. Some are going to talk to you like they were his brother. He was a good man. God, he truly lived for the business. He just,
I don't think John Cena or Steve Austin knew about that.
He respected
or Triple H knew about what really happened at that time on the Monday. But come the Saturday night, he says he's got the flight, he's getting on the flight at 9 p.m. Food poisoning thing basically gets brushed off, as he explains that early on in the day. This time he's walking through the house depressed, thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? He's going on Wikipedia searching for soul searching, it seems, feeling guilty and probably planning his suicide, thinking he's going to join Nancy and Daniel in heaven somewhere. You know, think about it, you just killed your family in a rage, and basically he's broken. He's suicidal to the fucking core, right? And that text message is proved that to Chavo early in the day. Obviously his last conversation was with WWE Talent Relations and his manager. Last phone conversation saying, I'm going to be on the flight so I can make to the Vengeance pay-per-view. Then Benoit's still depressed, probably thinking the Wikipedia search, then thinking of ways to kill himself. So basically, I think he's planning to kill himself at this time. He's probably planning on going down to the basement where the weight room is, putting them pounds on the weight bar. She weighs 250 pounds. He puts 150 keg on the weight bar and ties it around his neck, hangs it on his neck, and then hangs himself on the weight bar, which he's feeling really guilty, so he wants to experience a very painful death because he feels like he's very guilty. If he suffers this painful death, I think this connects to the Wikipedia search. As he suffers this painful death, he'll believe that he'll be forgiven for all his sins. But it wasn't a sin. This was a tragic accident. Now, the time of Chris Benoit's death, the last text. You've got the text messages that he sends to his manager and Chavo, saying, I think this is about an hour before he kills himself, the last hour of Benoit's life. You have these text messages he sends to Chavo and his manager, saying, the gates open, the gate's open to a combination to the gate or something. German shepherds are in the backyard, at the side of the house. The side door's open. Chavo gets these text messages. He sends them about 3 times to both of them. At 3 o'clock, quarter to 4 in the morning was the last one. So from 3:30 in the morning to quarter to 4 in the morning on Sunday morning, he's sending these frantic text messages out. At the time, they always question why Chavo didn't react with caution after that. I think he was asleep at that time. Basically, his phone was beeping, and then he was thinking, what? You know, or I would think that. So I was in bed and someone was just sending me these weird text messages. I'd be like, what? Fucking, what's going on here? Oh, fuck off, man. Going back to sleep. So I don't think it alarmed Chavo until the morning about what he was saying. But obviously, kept on saying them text messages saying the gate, so the combination to the gate to the mansion, the German shepherds outside in the garden, and then in the back of the doors open in the back of the house. That's the sacrifice, saying, you know, come to the house and you're gonna find me dead, you're gonna find Nancy dead, you're gonna find Daniel dead, basically. And it's just laying it out for him, basically. So get him to the house. After he sends them text messages, that's when he goes down to the basement. I'd say about 4:30 in the morning to I don't know, I can't say it's Pacific time. I'd say between 4 and 5 in the morning. Benoit goes to the basement and kills himself. And that's what happened. And then who knows what happened after that. All the alarm bells were going off on Sunday because he didn't turn up. Well, that's a very interesting story, very interesting book, and I just thought I would put my perspective, because I like to investigate incidents. Chris Benoit's last match I'm watching now. Anyway, it's SFN's podcast number 4. I hope I interested you with my insights into Chris Benoit and how his murder happened. Chris Benoit forever will be a legend. Rest in peace to Chris Benoit. It's nearly been 10 years since his death, and he will be missed by me because I'm a wrestling fan, and it was tragic what happened. He is not a murderer. He's not a psychopath. He's just a guy who just was lost and killed in a rage. It was very, very sad, but it doesn't matter because the SFS podcast is over and I've got to work my doggy out and get ready for Extreme Rules for tonight. Okay, so fuck you, I'm fucking gone.